is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UPNradio.com.
One of them wanted to be the security guy. He claimed he was a security guy.
Welcome to an illuminating version of Security Guy Radio with Chuck. My hair washes out when I'm on camera, Harold. And Mr. Dravers, my kind of co-host today. Mr. Dravers, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Now, it's apropos we're talking about lighting because, as you know, what do I always talk about on the show? Off camera, what do I talk about? The lighting on the show.
Lighting on the show.
Right? And I go, okay, my head's either like Eraserhead from that 1980s movie. It washes out. Or it looks like I'm exploding. Or I'm so white because I'm Irish you can't see me. Or I'm so dark. It's just no good. It's no good.
This is going to be a great show then.
This is going to be a very interesting show because we're going to talk about why lighting affects security. But my very special guest, Miss Eddie Reynolds, the president and CEO of Iluminar Inc. is going to talk about that today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, I said Edie because I was talking about your name, and I said, I would think it's Edie, but no, it's Eddie.
It's Eddie, yes.
Because of your other name, which is too hard to pronounce. We won't say
That's
that.
correct.
All right. Excellent. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So this is a big problem for me because I talk about lighting in here all the time, and that's why we're in Studio One. Studio One is better lighting.
Okay.
Right? And when I'm in the other studio, if we try to turn the lighting up, my head disappears. It's not balanced. I have to go back and correct it on YouTube and try to fix it.
Yes.
And Jarvis and I are always trying to tinker with it and make it work. And, just. And I did mention LED lighting once.
Okay.
And I actually went down to a film store and they had some panels.
Okay.
They're a little pricey, but I
Right.
thought, I wasn't confident it was going to work.
Okay.
And then I met you.
There you go.
And I said, oh my gosh, we have to have you on the show.
Here I am.
Because lighting is one of the most important things in security. Now,
Yes.
we always say to people, let's get some lighting in here. It's cheap. Because I'm not spending a whole bunch of money on a camera system and all these other things. But if I have my parking lot's lit up brightly, that deters people and I can see what's going on, right? But that's not completely true anymore. Because now, with all these laws in California about this dangerous light bulb that's going to kill me and all this kind of nonsense going around, LEDs have gained popularity. And I was very surprised after speaking with you the other day that they actually work.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what your company does. And this is really very interesting, and I don't want anybody to fall asleep. Mr. Jarvis, people say, lighting? Well, that's just obvious. It's not obvious.
No.
If you had hair like mine, you would not think it's obvious, okay? So tell us about your company.
So Iluminar, we're a manufacturer of LED lighting, mainly for surveillance. We manufacture infrared illumination, which is invisible light to the human eye, but can be seen by a true day-night camera.
Okay.
It's a camera that's compatible with infrared illumination. But we also manufacture white light illuminators. And the white light illuminators can be used for anything, security, safety.
Studios.
Studios can light up anything.
Tony, did you hear that? Okay, just say it. All right.
But the reason why it's great in security is because the color temperature rating of the LEDs we use simulate natural sunlight. So you get a true color picture 24 hours a day.
Again, I'm fascinated to hear this, okay? So back in the day when, night vision cameras came out, not night vision technically, not the green looking, but,
Right. The integrated infrared
right.
cameras, yes.
I was always under the impression that those two were not separable. In other words, they had to be together. You had to have your camera with that special light on it to make it all work. Not true.
No. A couple of things about integrated cameras. One thing is that the electronics inside the camera run hot, and LEDs do run hot. Not as hot as a regular bulb.
Right.
Okay. So it's like when you have those two things together, there's nowhere for the heat to dissipate. The LEDs start to degrade rapidly.
That's a good point. And we did have a lot of problems with those integrated cameras. They
Yes.
never worked quite exactly where they said.
That's right. Number two is that they attract insects. So you have a lot of spiders building their webs. You have to clean the camera often, or moths. So let's just say if you have your system set up to ping you or email you whenever you get a motion, when some motion happens, you'll have them all the time because the insects are attracted to the heat of the LEDs, and it's right inside the camera.
Yeah, we had those at HOAs because HOAs tend to be in California or LA. They tend to be out in the boonies, the rural areas, and we had a lot of insects covering up spiders, especially.
That's right.
Make their nest and cover their lens. I didn't realize that was the cause of it.
That's the cause. And then the third thing is that, oh gosh, I'm losing my train of thought. The third thing is, I can't think about what I was going to say.
That's okay. It happens to me all the time. Let me jump in here and save it.
Okay.
So, I was also surprised to see in some of your samples that these units are portable. They're not hot.
That's right.
You went back to that sunlight balance, right? So back in the day, and still to some degree, if I'm lighting a movie, and I think you had to light, tungsten lighting,
Right.
and it's 6,500 kevs or whatever they're called, right?
Yes.
And you'll catch on fire if you get too close to the thing. Literally.
It's true.
Right?
That's true.
So you're telling me that LED has the capability of balancing the color on your photography, your video, to look like that, like balanced sunlight,
Right.
but not hot.
Right. Depending on the color temperature rating, yes, but yes, it does have the capability of doing that. And I just remembered the third thing.
Go.
Okay. So the third thing is when people have their integrated cameras, the field of view on the LEDs that are installed in the integrated cameras is narrow.
Yeah, because it's a small lighting device because the camera's small.
That's right.
Okay.
But the angle of the lens, the field of view is wide. So for instance, it's approximately 100 degrees on most cameras, but the field of view of the Illuminator is 30 degrees.
Oh, that much difference.
So that's why you get those hot spots.
Yeah, I always wondered about that.
Yeah, when people walk up and they washes them out. It's
Their hair
because
gets washed out. It's a hot spot. That's right.
Well, because it's like pointing a flashlight
Yeah.
at them, so that's the third reason why it's better to go with a separate professional illuminator than an integrated camera.
All right, so here's what I'm still trying to get my head around this.
Okay.
So I put a camera up.
Yes.
And I can put up a regular camera.
Put up
I
a
can
regular camera.
Put up a 2K, let's say.
Yes.
Right? And it's not necessarily made for nighttime.
No.
But if I put one of your cameras up,
Mm-hmm.
your lights up, I'm going to be able to get that shot at night with color and balance it out.
Yes, with the white light illuminator. Yes.
Here's what I don't get. I pay $30 for a light bulb, all right, for my office.
Mm-hmm.
That are supposed to last 25 years, but actually last a couple months. That's another little secret. But anyway,
Right.
I don't feel like that's the same light.
No.
But it is technically, right? So my 100-watt light bulb I used to have that's now called something else, an LED,
Right.
is actually as bright or brighter. How does that light that doesn't look as bright to me transmit? In other words, hot, tungsten light, the light waves go out a certain distance and there's a
Right.
certain heat wave and length and stuff like that. But are LED lights, the wavelength, longer, shorter? I mean, how does it work?
Well, again, it just depends. So with white light, again, it's all with the color temperature rating.
Right.
It's the nanometers. So of course, the white lights we use encompasses all of the of all the color wavelengths. So it's between 3,000 to 7,000
So
nanometers.
one light wave from your LED unit is balancing out all those colors.
Right.
Where if I had a movie set and it was dark in here, I might have to put some filters in to make that work.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
And so what happens, like the lighting you have in here,
Right.
tends to be more in the orangey yellow, which is why
Yes,
colors
I know.
look skewed.
Yes.
Right. So
Orange,
yes.
Mr. Jarvis. I do look orange.
Yes.
And I'm not tan, am I? No.
No.
I'm not tan at all.
But that's what happens. So
Yeah.
it skews all the colors.
Yeah.
So when you use our lighting, it eliminates all of those, the skewed colors, because again, it's just simple. It simulates natural sunlight. So you just have the same picture in the daytime and the same picture at night with
So
all
here-
the true colors.
So when I was doing consulting integration, I would work with the camera people and say, I need a camera in this corner and here's what I want to do. And, that was fairly easy.
Yes.
I was never big on lighting. I wasn't a lighting guy. I get it. I know what you have to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really know where to hire a lighting person.
Right.
And we just used the available light in the studio, in
Correct.
the building, whatever. And that was, that's what we're going to have to do.
Yep.
And they try to correct that with those other cameras you talked about,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe some filters or something like that. How do we get to the point where people sell the camera and leave, and then we take the picture of the bad guy and it's a crappy picture, you can't use it because the lighting's bad? Why is there no connection between that and the devices? It seems to be two separate functions, lighting. The camera people don't seem to work with the lighting people.
Well, several things, and not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but camera manufacturers like to say that, okay, our cameras work very well at night.
The old half a lux sales pitch.
Right.
Yeah.
They work on 0.000 lux.
Right.
Well, again, the camera, keep in mind the camera works just the same as our eye. So it's all about education, okay? And we have to use common sense. You can have 20/20 vision. If you go into a dark restaurant or any dark place and you get a menu with small print, what's the first thing you're going to do?
I got to turn on my phone.
You got to turn on your flashlight or move the candle over.
Right.
The camera works the same way. So that's the thing that people don't process is that the camera is only going to pick up as much video as the light allows it to pick
So
up.
if I had a half a lux camera, that's really good. It's low lighting. But what the picture you're looking at is low lighting.
Is low lighting. That's right.
Where I could correct that with one of your lights
Just
and
one
say,
device.
guess what? I'm looking at daylight here when
That's
it's night.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Or black and white if light pollution is an issue and you don't want to have white light on all night.
Light pollution.
Right.
Another thing we have to add to the California list of things that kill us. Tell us what light pollution is.
So light pollution just means, for instance, in a residential area, you may not want a white light on because your neighbor might see it, or in the dorm area.
Yeah.
So that's light pollution, meaning you can see the light. So that's where people go for infrared, the invisible light. So the camera will see it, and these are
Right.
true day-night cameras, but the human eye doesn't see it.
So LEDs tend to make my eye squint. Why is that? Is it brighter light that I don't think is brighter light, or what's going on with that?
Well, again, it just depends on the color temperature rating of the light. So, for instance, the lights that we sell are 6500K, and some people are very sensitive to that.
Right.
So it takes a while for their eyes to get adjusted. But some people even say, well, I get a little bit of a headache. But it's like if you're just staring at it, if you're just staring at the light, then yeah, you would, because it's like staring at the sun. So that's why you want to put it in, different locations so it's not just in your face. For some people that are more sensitive to
But
it.
an infrared light, I'm not seeing the glow like we
No.
see in the lights here.
No.
But it is transmitting to the camera and to not the film, but the video, the
Yes.
digital, and it's lighting it.
That's right.
So how does that work?
Basically, it's the color spectrum. So infrared starts at 7,000 nanometers. So we standardize at 850 nanometers. We also offer 940. And that's just invisible to the human eye because we do see in color. Now, certain animals see only in black and white. They can see the light that's being transmitted. And for those kind of applications for animals and things like that, we use 940. Or sleep labs, we use 940 so they don't see any of the little red glow.
Oh, I had a sleep lab study done years ago. Yeah,
So they probably had an infrared light
They
in
did.
there. Yes.
They did. That's what that was.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. All right. Now, if I'm going to go install one of these with my camera setup,
Okay.
what are we talking about as far as size, application? Does the light go, next to the camera and transmit in a narrow beam, for lack of a better term, like a floodlight? Do
Sure.
LEDs work like floodlights, or do they work differently and illuminate everything around them?
That's a good question. So it depends on your application. So basically, what I would ask you is, what's the lens on your camera? Is it a 2.8 to 6? Is it 3 to 9? And then I have
It's crappy to really bad. No, I'm serious, right? Because
Yes.
most cameras, when they put them in, what I'm seeing is a teeny little pinhead of a guy walking out with something in his hand that you don't know if it's a bread box or a computer.
That's right.
And what good is that legally? It's not good at all legally.
It's not good unless you can zoom in.
Right.
But
with good lighting.
But with good lighting, at least you'll be able to identify, which we do have some pictures we can.
Yeah, Mr. Jarvis, maybe we can see some of the photos.
Let's look at the color one first, because that's really a lot different than what most people. So that's a picture of a scene that an integrator had installed at a school, and they used a color camera, and then at night you couldn't see anything, and they installed one of our white light illuminators, and that's a pitch black picture that's now in true color, and you don't see any skewed colors in the snow. You see all the colors in the back of the truck,
right?
And that's you'd have the same picture during the day, and now you have it at night as well.
So LED sounds like it's a better lighting application than regular fluorescent or whatever.
It's better because it's a lower running cost also, so you get your return on investment in, say, 12 to 18 months, depending on how many lights. There's no need to change the light out because the LEDs we use are specified to last 50 to 80,000 hours. So you get a 10-year lifespan on the on our light fixtures, but we warranty them for 5 years.
Now, what are they? Can we see what one looks like? Are they?
So that's the white light illuminator.
They're set up in like a bank setup, right? They're not a round light bulb like you normally
No.
think about, or a floodlight, which we used to use that
Right.
shot a beam. These are banks of lights.
Right.
Now,
So
why is that design? Why are they kind of like that?
I think for surveillance, we just had some engineers in the UK that specialize in LED lighting, and they just thought that that was the best form factor for dispersing the lights. So that's why we make them that way. And you can install them right side up or sideways even.
Oh, okay.
And to answer your question on where's the best way to install the light, so again, I would just want to know what the lens is, the millimeter, so I can match the field of view of your camera to the field of view of our lamps, because we offer 10, 30, 60, 100, and 120 degree fields of view. Most cameras need about 120 degree fields of view if they're a varifocal lens. And then I would match it with the distance that you're looking for. And as long as it's not a bubble glass dome, you can mount it below, next to, above it. But if it's a bubble glass dome camera, you want to mount the light above the camera, because when the light comes out, like a flashlight, the beam spreads.
Right.
And if it's next to or below, it'll hit the glass and cause a glare or reflection, or the camera will say, oh, it's daytime, and go back into color mode. And if you're using infrared, you won't see anything.
And what's the distance on a light like this? Let's take I don't know, you got a 40 by 40 conference room, and you got one camera, and that seems like an easy application to me.
Yeah, so our longest distance can go up to 919 feet at 10 degrees.
No, hold on a second. 919 feet.
Yes,
That's like
that's
Travis.
far.
it's
very
far.
far.
Confirm that far.
Yeah, that's
okay.
that's extremely far.
Well, I'm thinking of 1,000 feet as a motor cop. We know how far that is as a motor
Yes.
cop for accidents. That's quite a distance,
It's quite a distance.
and it's gonna cover that degree of lighting where it's not going to be like a flashlight or floodlight narrow beam. It's going to come out and light up to 120 degrees. You say of that 900 feet?
Well, no. So the one that does 10 degrees will do 919 feet.
Well, that's more narrow. Okay,
Right?
All right.
And then that same light, so the same light fixture, as you go wider with the field of view, the distance gets shorter. So the same light at 30 degrees now will do 623 feet.
Wow.
The same light at 60 degrees will do 410 feet. The same light at 100 degrees, or I should say the same amount of LEDs, but wider field of view at 100 degrees now does 240 feet. And then the widest at 120 degrees will give you 200 feet of light. I mean, and you're really flooding an area then.
Now, is that? I'm trying to get this whole technical thing in my head. I'm not good with electricity
Okay.
or lighting. That's just one of my. I can build a deck for you. I can do drywall, but lighting, electricity, I don't get it. Is this a better light than standard lights? It seems like it. It seems like the light waves transmit differently. Am I wrong?
Then what kind of light?
Oh, like the standard light we use to light things. We might put a floodlight out there. We might put all kinds of different things out there. This seems like a different way to transmit the light. LED. Is it different?
Well, LED, of course, has a lower running cost. So
That I get.
that light that I was just telling you, the 919 feet, that's only 48 watts of power.
Oh,
So where normally you would probably have to use a 500
that's what I'm thinking.
watt.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, you would need a 500 watt light bulb
Yes.
and some of these things in here to get this semi-balanced
That's
light.
right.
Yeah.
So now you only need 48 watts to light up the same as a 500 watt incandescent bulb. And of course, with fluorescent lights, they don't start instantaneously. They cause a
Yeah.
flicker. They contain mercury. They put out radiation, so all kinds of things. Where LEDs are safe. People are even using LEDs for health, for facials, for cosmetic procedures, for healing.
So those squiggly light bulbs they put in California years ago, the little
Those are the
pretzel thing.
fluorescent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and those ones that have all the dangerous stuff. in them.
Yes.
Are we moving away from those and going to LED mostly?
Again, it's educating, and so people, of course, are starting to see the bad effects of fluorescent lighting, and they're moving away from that. And of course, LED lighting is becoming more affordable as well.
Maybe that's why my eyes squint, because it's a pure light. Because there's no colors in it. There's not the greens and all that other
That's
stuff
right.
from fluorescence. Jarvis, pull up that photo of the darkness and that camera that she showed a minute ago. Is that you said it was in the snow or something?
Yeah, that one right there.
There
So
we
that's
go.
the white light.
All right. So what distance is this camera, and what distance are we lighting here?
So this is an IP camera from one of our technology partners. And again, we just had a installer who was installing it at school. This is one of our white light illuminators. It's the WL220 series, which is the smaller one than Jarvis has up there. And that one's a 60-degree beam. Yeah, that one right there, WL220. And that little light right there with 8 LEDs will do 115 feet at 60 degrees.
This is the light we just saw in the photo that's lighting the photo.
That little light is lighting up that area in the photo.
It's got eight cells, is that right?
8
bulbs?
LEDs, just 8 little LEDs.
Do we call them bulbs, by the way? Is that okay?
No, it's just we call it a fixture. An illuminator.
I get it.
An
Change
illuminator.
update my dictionary all the time with all these terms. All right. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
illuminator.
just
All right.
called an illuminator. Yes.
That's very impressive.
So
And-
they're very small form factors.
And what would you need with traditional lighting to do that job?
You probably need probably a big light like this to light up the same, or several large
Several.
lights such as this. Yeah.
Different angles and all that kind of
Different
stuff.
angles,
This comes
yeah.
from a single source.
Yes, this comes from a single source. It's
So
just
tell
one.
me where we're using these. All the applications. Where are we using them? Besides, I mean, security obviously, but what kind of security applications are you using?
Well, a lot of stuff that we, a lot of places where we're installed, of course, is confidential because most people use infrared more than white light because they're just more familiar with it.
Oh, all
I
right.
like white light, like you like the white light because
Yeah.
it's cool. You can see it. You can see color at night.
It's a deterrent too, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They can go rob your neighbor instead of robbing you, right?
Right.
So, but as far as our lighting, again, we're in a lot of places. We
well,
do
give me some
city
industries,
surveillance.
not names of clients, but like
Yeah,
industries.
city surveillance, Department of Homeland Security, sleep labs, as I mentioned before, just anywhere where there's a camera, government agencies, prisons, recreational facilities, parks. I have a whole lot. I have a whole list on my website.
Give us your website too, so we can look at that.
It's www.illuminarinc.com, and Illuminar is one L. Illuminar means to illuminate in Spanish, by
Right.
the way.
Now, don't go there now. Don't leave Security Guy Radio
No.
to go to her website. No offense. All right,
No, that's okay.
I'm gonna watch the end.
That's right.
All right, give us some. Well, I don't know if I don't think I asked you this before the show, but can you give me a range on price and how this is economical, or not a quote per se, but what's
Yeah, I
what are
can
we
give
talking
you
about money?
MSRP. Will start anywhere from $420 up to I think $1,600-$1,700. That's MSRP off the street.
That's the high end.
That's the high-
And
yes.
what's my $1,700 unit going to
That's
light?
the one that I told you that'll do 919
Wow.
feet at
10 degrees.
at PoE with the PoE power. So
Yeah.
our lights are at low voltage. They'll take 12 to 32 volts DC, 24 volt AC. But we also offer PoE, PoE Plus, and high PoE options as well.
So one of my people that come on the show once in a while owns a portable power company.
Okay.
And he comes in and he has a box that's run off of hydrogen or whatever you want to call it, and he can drop it up on a mountain and put a camera on it, and it'll run for a year
Nice.
through
Is it
either-
solar?
Well, one solar or the what do you call it? The cell technology where it runs off cell fuel inside, not solar. I forget what you call it.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, so it's like one's a dry battery, one's a wet battery, so to speak.
Okay.
And I've never heard him discuss the lighting issue, though. In
Because
other words,
he probably is not educated about
Yeah.
it. Yes, but you can run it. People use it for solar because with the 12 volt, sting operations, license plate capture is really big. People
Right.
use our lighting for license plate capture. You have to set up the parameters on the camera, and then use a 10 or 30 degree light. So with our light, that same one I told you, 919 feet, we can capture plates up to 450 feet away.
450 feet.
450 feet away.
Well, only if your camera's good. I mean,
Well,
the
again, you have to have a
resolution in
good camera, and you
Yeah.
have to have this correct parameter set up, but you can do it up to 450 feet.
Now, the California plates are white with blue lettering, and it bounces back a lot of light. And this is another problem we used to have trying to light HOA gates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you put the light out there, and it washes out the lettering.
That's if you just put a regular camera.
Right.
Because that's like putting two flashlights together.
Exactly.
So we also offer a license plate capture camera that just reads plates 24/7. But if you want to do something outside of that,
Oh, is it show that, Jarvis? That's the.
Oh.
Which one is that?
that's our license plate capture camera. It's all inclusive. It's got the LEDs, it's got the camera, it's got the filter built in, and that's for anywhere not on a freeway. So up to 32 feet going 35 miles per hour or less, that's the license plate capture camera.
Again, with the old cameras and building in some of the stuff, it was getting hot. How do you solve the heat issue on your cameras?
Well, basically, on this camera, because the LEDs aren't LEDs. Number one, don't run as hot as normal. When you have a
Oh,
bank
this
of
camera
those.
does not have the LEDs built in.
It does have
Oh, it
LEDs
does.
built in, but it doesn't have as many LEDs as those. You see those cameras that have all those little LEDs
The big,
in there.
big donut.
The
yeah.
big donut with all. So this one has about 8 LEDs in it, and basically it's just synchronized with the camera to capture the plate. Okay, so it's not on 20. The lights are not on 24/7, and this is the same with our light. When you put it with the camera, it's only going to come on at night.
Right.
So that's the difference. It's not on 24/7, so it doesn't get as hot, and then the LEDs don't burn out as fast.
So people, as you mentioned earlier, tend to gravitate towards the infrared stuff.
Yes.
Because it sounds like you need that at night.
Yes.
What's your feeling on that?
I feel that if you're doing surveillance and light pollution isn't an issue, then I would go for white light because you can actually identify. You can identify with infrared, but it's still a black and white picture.
It's not as good as the full color, right?
That's right.
Okay.
But if you can get full color at night, same as you can in the daytime, why not use that?
Oh, it's just one of those. Take a look there, Jarvis, so we can pull it up.
So this is one of our technology partners. I'm not sure if you heard of Pelco, but
Who hasn't? I know, right? They were like the first ones to make a camera.
so this is one of our technology partnerships we have with Pelco, and they offer our lights on their PTZ cameras. You can have one light. They have a different one with 2 lamps, and now they put our large one, the 919s, on there. And basically, wherever the camera goes, the light moves with the camera.
Yeah, Stuart Rawlings been on my show.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, we like him a lot. He's
ISC
a good
West
friend
and
of ours.
stuff, yeah.
Yes. So these are one of the technology partners of ours. So most camera manufacturers do send their clients to Iluminar to help them specify lighting for their camera applications because they know that I've been selling lighting or specifying lighting for 16 years.
So that's the disconnect is that the camera people, let's not say the manufacturers. Manufacturers seem to get it, but maybe the local vendor, installer guy,
Right.
he wants to put the camera up and look, you got a picture, that's great, see you later, and nobody thinks about the lighting. You're finding that the lighting usually does not come into the design and build phase.
Most of the times they don't think of it because again, when you said you were an integrator, you didn't think about the lighting. When I was an integrator, I left it up to the customer because this
Right.
technology wasn't available.
Yeah.
But the last 16 years, it's become available, and especially with LEDs becoming more available recently, it's a no-brainer. The cost is lower. You don't have to leave it up to an electrician or your client to place the lighting. They place it in the wrong place. Plus LED, or if you add lighting to your application, it helps with the bandwidth because now with all these IP cameras, you need a lot of bandwidth. So if you have lighting there, it helps decrease the bandwidth.
Don't let his fingers distract
Okay.
you. He's
You know-
giving us a 3-minute sign.
And then, of course, so for video storage, you're storing actual good video instead
Right.
of just
Junk that
static.
you can't use. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Give us your website one more time.
www.illuminarinc.com.
And you will be at ISC West?
I will be at
Next
ISC
month?
West. Yes, yes. We will be with technology partners in their booths. One is the power company Ultronics. One is Leroux. that do-
Ultronics.
Yes.
I know them too.
We're
Mr.
big-
Foreman.
That's right.
Ultronics is great. Yeah.
That's right. So we recommend Ultronics products actually to power up our illuminators because they have a great spec and it's versatile and it does what it says it's going to do.
So if we're out on an HOA application where it's out in a place where there's not a lot of connectivity, your lights very easily run on batteries.
Yes, it
Because
can.
you're not drawing a lot of
Absolutely.
power, but
That's
you're
right.
still getting the same lighting effect.
That's right.
Fascinating. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk all this stuff? Mr. Jarvis?
It's great.
It's cool, isn't it?
It's so cool.
See, now you want your own light in your own camera, don't
want
I can come back and
numerous
bring
of
some
my own lights.
bring some lights with me next time.
you? Eddie, thanks for coming on the show. Really appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me. I had a
And,
great time.
Yeah, I'll stop by IC and say
Yes,
hi to you guys, see
please
what's
do.
going on. And then maybe next time we can come back and bring one of those lights.
Absolutely.
Those newfangled lights and see if we can light our studio better. I think it'd be great.
I think it'd be fun to play with.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much. Thanks, guys.
But the phone call was a different show. Kind of.
Yes.
A little bit.
Yes.
But